Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the essentials of valid contract. As of now, all of you are aware about what is meant by a contract, right? An agreement enforceable by law. So the speciality is that an offer plus acceptance constitutes an agreement, or an offer plus acceptance equals an agreement. But if that particular agreement is not legally enforceable, it doesn't consider as a contract. So an agreement enforceable by law is known as a contract. So what are some of the essentials of a valid contract? Some of the essential conditions we need to fulfill, then only that particular agreement is considered as a valid contract. So let's go through some of the essentials. So some of the major essentials of valid contracts are offer and acceptance, free consent, contractual capacity, lawful consideration, and lawful object. Then agreement not declared void, possibility of performance, certainty of terms, legal relations, and finally the legal formalities. So almost 10 essentials are there for a valid contract. So these 10 conditions needs to be fulfilled by both the parties, then only we can consider a particular agreement as a valid contract, right? So offer and acceptance. As we all are aware, there are two parties in an agreement, right? One party is making the offer and the other party is accepting the offer, right? So offer and acceptance must be lawful, right? The person who made the offer is known as offerer, and the person who accepts the offer is known as offeree. So offerer is there, offeree is there, and offer and acceptance must be both in lawful. That means it must conform to the rules laid in the Indian Contract Act. So without an offer, without any acceptance, there won't be any legal validity for a particular contract. So these are some of the two main pillars which we consider. We can say it as the pillars of a valid contract: valid offer and valid acceptance. So two parties, minimum two parties should be there in a contract: one offeree and another, one offerer and another offeree. Next is free consent. Consent, right? What is that free consent? Free consent is the another essential of a valid contract. Consent means that parties must have agreed upon the same thing in the same sense, right? So in the first thing we understood, offerer is there, offeree is there. Offerer is making an offer, right? So the offeree has to understand the offer in the same sense which is given by the offerer, right? So there should be uniformity in the understanding. You have to understand the things in the same manner. Correct, yes. The subject matter should be clear, the terms and conditions should be clear. So that is what free consent is all about. So for a valid contract, it is necessary that the consent of the parties of the contract must be free. That is also there. Free consent does not exist when it is obtained by fraud, mistake, coercion, etc. So free consent not only involves one thing, it involves two major aspects, in the sense both the offerer as well as the offeree must understand the subject matter in the same sense, and also the consent to a particular contract should be free from mistake, coercion, fraud, etc. That means voluntarily we have to be enter into a particular contract, right? If it from the part of the offerer, from the part of the offeree, it doesn't matter. Both the persons should enter in the contract voluntarily, right? So there won't be any force or fraud or coercion that compel them to enter into a particular contract. Next, contractual capacity. What is meant by contractual capacity? The parties to the agreement must be competent of entering into a valid contract. That means, as we all are aware, the parties who wish to involve in a legal contract should satisfy some of the capacities, in the sense he should be a major in the sense he should be of 18 plus, then he should be of sound mind, then not disqualified from entering a contract by any law, right? Yes. So these are some of the basic capacity which we are expecting as a normal citizen right? If you think from the perspective of the offerer, if you think from the perspective of the offeree, if, to whatever it, these all these things are applicable to both of them, right? So age of majority 18 plus, then only we will consider as consider one citizen as a major, right? Then is sound mind and not disqualified by any of the law, right? Yes. If one of the parties to the agreement suffers from minority, madness, drunkenness, etc., the agreement is not enforceable at law. So he should be a normal person, right? And should be major and not disqualified by any of the law. That is capacity. The next is consideration. Consideration means something in return, right? It is basically the money, the price, the cash. That's it. So it may be some benefit to the party, right? Consideration has been defined as a price paid by one party for the promise of another. An agreement is enforceable only when both parties give something and get something in return. Right. So what is the main speciality of a legal contract? Nothing is the right. So whenever we are entering into a contract, if you want to sell something, means we are ready to sell, right? Whatever the property, and in return what we are receiving? We are receiving money, correct? Then only it will be considered as a valid contract. So from, if you think from both the perspective of the seller as well as the buyer, consideration is there, right? From the seller he will get the money, from the buyer he is receiving the property or whatever the thing, right? That's a particular subject matter. So consideration basically means something in return. So both of them will get something in return, right? So one will receive the money, the other will get the property, whatever the thing, right? So mutual exchange is there. So without consideration we cannot consider a particular agreement as a valid contract. Then lawful object. The main purpose of the contract should be lawful, right? This very, by using our common sense we can easily interpret all these things. The object of the agreement must be lawful. The object for which agreement has been entered into must not be fraudulent, illegal, immoral, or opposed to public policy, or must not imply injury to the person or property of another. So every agreement of which the object or consideration is unlawful is illegal and therefore void, right? For example, if you want to sell your car, fine, it's a legal agreement, the object is very lawful. On the same time, A promises to pay B rupees 5,000 if B beats C, correct? B beats C is not legal in nature, it is illegal in nature, because so it is a void agreement, it's a void contract. So the whatever the purpose, the object in which we are entering into a contract, it should be lawful and adhering to the public policy or morality of our society. Then next is agreement not declared void. Some of the contracts or agreements are declared void by the government itself. An agreement to become a contract should not be an agreement which has been expressly declared void by any law in the country. So the law, some states these many things are illegal in nature. So if you are entering into that particular category, and if you are making a contract which are forbidden as per the law of that particular country, then it cannot be enforceable. For example, agreements made under a mutual mistake, and if you are making an agreement with a parties having no contractual capacity, for example minor and unsound person, then unlawful consideration, correct? Then without any consideration, these are not practically possible. We cannot consider these things are practically a valid contract. Then possibility of performance, whatever the contracts, it should be the main agenda, the main purpose, the main object of the contract should be capable of performing. It should be realistic in nature, that is what. Okay, the valid contract must be capable of performance. An agreement to do an act is impossible in itself is void, right? So by magic, treasure hunt, etc., and all, we will make money. That's not valid contract. It's not practically possible. It's not legalized, correct? Yes. If the act is legally or physically impossible to perform, the agreement cannot be enforced. For example, one example is given. A agrees to share with B 50% of the treasure if created by magic. The agreement is not enforceable. This magic, treasure and all those things, right? So it's not practically possible. It's not realistic in nature. So what all things are entered as a subject matter in or in a contract, it should be realistic in nature. Then certainty of terms, right? So valid contract, the terms and conditions of an agreement must be clear and certain. The agreement must not be vague, uncertain, or ambiguous. Yes, regarding the date, regarding the subject matter, regarding the time, regarding the delivery mode, regarding the person, everything should be crystal and clear cut. So if you are going through the agreement, you have to understand what is it regarding, who are the parties, what is the consideration amount, all those things. So everything should be certain. There won't be any scope for any guesswork in a contract. Then legal relations. The parties to an agreement should create a legal relationship. Yes, definitely. Then why we are making a contract? Because if one party breaches or breaks a contract, means the other party can sue. So obviously there should be a legal relationship. That is why we are making contract. That is the backbone of contract, right? That is what an agreement enforceable by law. That is that enforceability means that legal relationship. We are emphasizing on the legal relationship. The parties to an agreement must create legal relationship. Agreements of a social or domestic nature do not create legal relations and as such cannot give rise to a contract. Right, so we are making a number of informal contracts with your friends, family members, etc. Right, and we are breaking the promises. Nothing will happen because these are all domestic agreements, informal agreements. Right. So, but the formal contract is totally different, and it should create a legal relationship. So both the parties or whatever parties are included in a contract are accountable or responsible. That is what. Then legal formalities is the last one. Legal formalities in the sense the agreement may be most of the times in writing, right? Oral contracts are also valid, but some of the agreement should be in writing. So while writing, we have to comply with all the legal formalities. For example, attestation charges, registration charges, right? All those things you have to comply. You have to complete all the legal formalities. Then only we can enforce that particular agreement in the court of law. It is essential for the validity of a contract that it must be in writing, signed by and attested by witnesses, and registered if so required by the law. So registration charges, signature of the witnesses, etc. These are some of the legal formalities. Then only we can consider that particular agreement should be a valid contract. So I hope you understood the essentials of a valid contract. Thank you.